Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. There are a bunch of games out there with great magic gameplay. When it comes to the RPGs in particular, the magic gameplay is usually only one of the possible ways to play the game. So I find it a lot more fascinating when an optional playstyle in the game is really well done. Not to say that games which only have one available playstyle are bad, far from it. But if your gameplay is strictly based around one playstyle, like magic in this case, it has to be good, right? Otherwise, the whole game will suffer, unlike in RPGs where you can simply choose a different playstyle. This topic is a lot deeper, of course. I'm just trying to generalize these games in the simplest way possible. I don't know, that kinda makes sense in my head, but you tell me. Anyway, this list is about 10 RPGs/action adventures with great magic gameplay in no particular order. Before we continue with the video, a quick word from today's sponsor. Opera GX is the first browser in the world that's built for gamers and it's entirely free. It has a lot of useful features which are integrated in the browser itself. For example, you can easily see your Twitch notifications on the sidebar and never miss your favorite streamer. You can also check your Discord and every major messenger app like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. But this wouldn't be a gaming browser without any actual gaming features. You have the Control tab, which allows you to limit your CPU and RAM usage, which is especially useful if you don't want to close your browser while you're gaming. So you don't have to worry about the RAM-eating monster anymore. But my personal favorite is the GX Corner feature, which helps you to stay up to date with free games and best deals. Opera GX team is manually selecting these games and more often than not, you will find some great discounts. You can easily select your platform and besides that you have a release calendar for the upcoming games, which is pretty cool. And last but not least, Opera GX allows you to customize your browser however you want, although I think the default version looks pretty good. Thank you Opera GX team for sponsoring this video. You can get this browser by using my link in the description and just remember it's totally free. Number 10. Outwards. If you subscribed to this channel a while ago, there is a big chance you did that because of this game. Outward is one of the most interesting RPGs that came out in recent years, for more than a couple of reasons. And one of those reasons is the unique magic gameplay which this game offers. It's described as a step-by-step ritualistic approach to spell casting, and I think that's pretty accurate. Most of the spells in Outward don't do anything by themselves. You have to combine them in order to get these actual effects. The skills from the Rune Mage tree is probably the best way to get into this magic system. You get 4 rune spells that you can combine and get different effects. Number 9. Arx Fatalis. Of all the games on this list, Arx Fatalis probably has the most unique spell casting system. You have to use your mouse movement to draw spells on the screen. There are a bunch of runes in the game which can show you the gesture you have to learn for casting a particular spell. And same like in Outward, you can combine spells for different effects. It's a really fun method of casting magic in an RPG, even though it can be a little bit clunky. Especially if you try to play this game now in modern screen resolutions. It's not impossible, but sometimes the game will just straight up refuse your inputs, even if it seems like you did everything right. But anyway, the spell casting in Arx Fatalis was nothing short of amazing, and I wish we could see something similar in modern RPGs. Number 8. Mages of Mystralia. Don't let the cute artistic style fool you, Mages of Mystralia can be a really challenging game. And just like the 2 previous games on this list, it's all about experimenting with different effects and creating your own spells. As you play through the game, you unlock more spells and you gradually increase your arsenal. You can make some crazy combinations when you go in depth with this system. There are different elements which you can use, along with other effects that can change the rate of fire or the number of shots in a single spell. Or how about creating a totally different spell effect which triggers upon impact? Yeah, you can do that. That's just one of the examples. Mages of Mystralia allows you to be really creative. Number 7. Noita. I'm kinda breaking my own rules here because this game is not an RPG or an action adventure, it's a roguelike. But yeah, sue me. The whole gameplay loop in Noita is revolved around experimenting with your spells. This game has almost 30k user reviews on Steam and they are overwhelmingly positive. I know that Steam reviews are not exactly the right measure when it comes to the overall quality of the game, but if an indie title manages to have these kind of numbers, it's worth checking out. Noita starts off really simple as pretty much every other roguelike game, but as you progress, you will get new spells and wands, which you can combine and create some crazy spell effects. It has a really satisfying gameplay loop, especially if you love roguelikes. Number 6. Gothic 3. Near the end of January, I published a full retrospective video about this game. It's a really long video, and if that's your thing, you can check it out if you somehow missed it. When I talked about playstyles in this game, I mentioned that playing as a mage is definitely the best way to experience Gothic 3. It's a more traditional way of learning spells in the game, so there is no spell crafting systems or anything like that, but regardless, the gameplay loop is really satisfying. The sense of character progression is really strong in this game, and that's one of the reasons why the magic gameplay feels so good. But besides that, the spell effects and the presentation in general is great, which makes you feel like a really powerful mage once you learn some stronger spells.
You are no opponent for me! Stop right there, Mora. This fight won't take long. Gotcha!
Number 5. Divinity Original Sin 2. The only game with turn-based combat on the list, and if you played Original Sin 2, I'm pretty sure you know why. Using the environments to your advantage and learning the elemental combinations are some of the most important things when it comes to the gameplay. When you learn all the elemental combinations, you can basically turn the tide of even the most hopeless fight scenarios in the game. And of course, the AI can do the same. A lot of people think that this is one of the best RPGs that came out in the last decade, and that's not by accident. Number 4. Path of Exile. This Diablo-like action RPG doesn't need a lot of introduction. If you didn't notice already, most of the games on this list have some kind of a custom way of making spell effects, and Path of Exile is no different. You get various active abilities and effects from the gems that you can find, and then you combine them by socketing the gems in one of your items. The depth of the gameplay in general is insane, and the amount of options you have for combining your abilities and creating different builds is just staggering and possibly overwhelming for new players. But if you get past that, you can lose a lot of hours of your life in this game. Number 3. Tyranny. Tyranny is like a bastard child of Pillars of Eternity, and it's kinda underrated. Besides the unique premise where you play as a bad guy, Tyranny offers a really interesting magic gameplay. The robust spell creation system in Tyranny is really fun to use. When you're creating custom spells, you have the option to use different shapes, which have various effects on your spells. This game really flew under the radar, and it's a shame because it's a pretty solid CRPG. It was always in the shadow of Pillars of Eternity, which is objectively a better game, but Tyranny definitely deserves some more recognition. Number 2. Two Worlds 2. About a month ago, I did a full video about this magic system in the game because I consider it to be the best magic system in an open world RPG. Even though the game itself was mediocre at best, the magic system in this game is simply amazing. If you want to become a mage in this game, you'll have to make your own spells. You need some gold, magic cards, and a will to experiment. The beauty of this magic system is the ability to turn the most basic spell into something completely crazy. The modifiers offer a lot of options for experimentation in a single spell, not to mention the effects that you can get from combining a couple of different spells. I highly recommend watching the video I did for this particular magic system. Number 1. Dragon's Dogma. If I would have to imagine the perfect magic gameplay in an RPG, I would take the spell creation system from Two Worlds 2 and combine it with the presentation and the gameplay from Dragon's Dogma. One can dream, right? Dragon's Dogma offers one of the most impressive visual experiences when casting spells, and combined with the great action gameplay mechanics, no other game comes even close. Well, at least in my experience. Instead of me just talking about the magic gameplay in Dragon's Dogma, here are a couple of examples that should explain perfectly what I mean. I want to include a couple of honorable mentions before I end the video, because I can already see some comments about the games that I didn't mention. The first honorable mention will be the Elder Scrolls games, or specifically Morrowind and Oblivion, because of the spell crafting system. Skyrim had the right idea with the dual hand casting, but ultimately it was a missed opportunity. And you only realize that when you try some amazing spell mods. Then we have Lich Doom Battle Mage. This game is all about casting magic, up to the point when it gets boring and repetitive in my opinion, but a lot of people seems to like it, so it deserves to be in this section. And the last honorable mention goes to Magicka games. Magicka was a pretty challenging game, especially if you played in single player, but this game truly shines in the co-op mode with your friends. The sequel improved the gameplay a lot, especially when it comes to the movement, because you didn't have to stop and cast spells like in the first game, you could do it while running. And that would be all for this video. What game had the best magic gameplay in your opinion? Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more RPG content. If you want to support the channel in the long run, consider becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You can get your name on the end credits, as well as some other perks like early access to videos, Discord roles, my plans for future content, etc, etc. That will be all, and I'll see you in the next one.